ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Water Street Municipal Band concert. It's not supposed to rain, so it's nice and cool with the cloud cover. So we have a wonderful concert for you. It is about space. So I always think spacey, but no, it's about out there. We have a very shy and inhibited singer to sing for you tonight. So please welcome to the stage Dr. David Roman and Lee Wenger.
Oh, Denise, that was cute. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this concert of the Peoria Municipal Band in their 84th season of free family concerts under the stars. At this time, if you will rise, if you're able, and join me in singing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Well, good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. Want to remind those of you out by the tracks that if you hear this particular sound, just need to back up by the cars, okay, and be safe and avoid the train. And then we want to remind you right away, and we'll remind you several times, that this week, Saturday, we will be out at Lakeview Park at the Noble Center, and we have a patriotic concert lined up at 7 o'clock on Saturday. And then if you've been following the paper, if you want to see fireworks, where would you go for that? You would come right back down here on Sunday and see those that Pat has put together to benefit the Boys and Girls Club. So there's several things that you can do, and we hope you take advantage of those the rest of this week because it's supposed to get nicer and the rain's supposed to go away. We have a lot of patriotic music for you tonight, as well as a little bit just about space. And so we're going to start in Wichita Falls, Texas. How many people have been to Wichita Falls, Texas? Yeah, several. Okay, so you have to, were you there in 1882 with Bill Bohr when he was there? Okay. So you have to imagine in this piece the hustle and bustle of this kind of town out in the west, and especially the railroad days, because they had a lot of trains that were coming through. And so you have everything from the very straight mercantile society to the rowdy cowboys and that sort of thing. So David Holsinger tried to kind of capture what that would be musically. And so this is his Prairie Dances. we're going to change the pace just a little bit, but we're going to remember a year that was close to that late 1800 year that David Holsinger wrote about. So this is 1899. It was kind of an important year in American music. There were kind of three things that happened. Scott Joplin wrote Maple Leaf Rag, and then there were two people born that maybe you've heard of before, Duke Ellington and Hoagy Carmichael. So we're going to play this medley of Hoagy Carmichael songs that I think you'll recognize. It's got Lazy River, Stardust, Heart and Soul, Skylark, Georgia on My Mind. He was born over in Bloomington, Indiana. His dad was kind of on and off again electrician, but his mom was a musician, and that kind of influenced him from that standpoint. But he moved to Indianapolis in about 1916 or so, and he studied with a gentleman named Reginald Duval, and this was a man that knew everything about jazz and really influenced him in a great way about different things. And so Hoagy used to go out even when he was underage and play at night spots and do all this stuff. And he was gigging a lot, doing a lot of different things. Went off to high school, went to Indiana University, had a great career, and ended up writing all these tunes that many of us know. So this is a great arrangement by James Kessler, Hoagy Carmichael, an American classic. Well, this next march that we have for you is one that would be considered one of the three great American marches. And if you listen closely, the baritones and trombones start out by stating a little bit of the national anthem at the beginning of this march. National Emblem March was written way back in 1902 on a train tour, and E. Bagley wrote this march. He really didn't think it was any good, and he threw it in a wastebasket. And his family kind of resurrected it. They retrieved it out of there, and they said, it's not that bad, and they didn't say anything to him. So they wrote out all the parts, because remember, back then you did this all by hand, right? So they took that score, they wrote out all the parts, and at their very next concert they said, hey, we're going to play this march. Well, it turned out to be the most famous march that he ever wrote. And he made, get this now, this is how much money he made for this march, $25. Okay? Yeah, he was really making bank on this one, okay? So today he might have earned just a little bit more, okay? And what's interesting about this, too, is that during the war years when John Philip Sousa was up at working with this big 350-member Navy band, and they came to Peoria and marched their very first parade here, this march was one that they played. This is National Emblem March by E. Bagley. Well, you've met our extremely shy singer. Peoria native Lee Wenger has been singing with the municipal band for, I think it was 300 years, but somebody edited this to 30. 30 years. He's been on the band commission for 25, and many of you have heard me say this band commission has been great over the years, and they're a working group, and that's what I appreciate so much. The whole band appreciates all the work that they do. He also sings with the band for a Memorial Day program, which we hope will return next year. And since retiring from Bradley University and public radio station WCBU just 2 years ago, he's continued to sing at Holy Family Church and also with the Morton Civic Chorus. And by the way, they're going to start rehearsing, they hope, in January, and then they're going to move their Kidney Fund benefit show from up on the hilltop at Bradley down to the renovated Scottish Rite Cathedral. So watch for that. There'll be more information coming. Also, he just joined the governing boards for the Central Illinois Ballet and also the group that is working on restoring the Madison Theater. So he's got a number of upcoming projects, including a fundraising gala for Look, It's My Book in August, and also the Peoria Gridiron Dinner in September. How many people have been to the Gridiron Dinner before? Yes, and you've seen him there before. And as he told me, he said, you know, they say you should pick 4 things to do in retirement, and someone who is not paying attention to that was Lee Wenger. He does many, many things. Give him a nice welcome, please.
Rule number 1, always make it to the microphone before the applause stops. It's very important. Before I begin, could we have a round of applause for the man who owns Water Street, the guy with the white hair right up there, Pat Sullivan. Pat,
wave your towel. There you go. Thanks for making us feel so
welcome down here. You've probably seen in the news, Pat is going to be hosting the Boys and Girls Club's fundraiser down here with fireworks on it. And then they're coordinating with the Peoria Chiefs, who are going to have fireworks again, same night, July 4th. And Pat says he's still got some tables left. So if you'd like to support Boys and Girls Club, talk to Pat or just go to the Boys and Girls Club and find out about that. Speaking of owning a street, there was a man who owned Broadway. George M. Cohan was described as the man who owned Broadway. In fact, they said the people come and stay at every matinee. They go to see the player, not the play, they say. That sounds weird, but think of John Wayne. He didn't care what movie he was in. John Wayne. He'd watch the movie, whatever it was. Here is a American Spectacular Music by George M. Cohan. Feel free to sing along. For it was Mary, Mary, plain as any name can be, but with propriety, society will say Marie. But it was Mary, Mary, long before the fashions came. And there is something there that sounds so fair, it's a grand old name. How many Marys here tonight? And there is something there that sounds so fair, it's a grand old name. Give my regards to Broadway, remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to mingle with that old-time throng. Give my regards to old Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long. Only 45 minutes from Broadway. Think of the changes it brings. In the short time it takes, what a difference it makes in the ways of the people and things. fine bunch of farmers. Oh, what a rube atmosphere. They have whiskers like hay, Fred, and imagine Broadway only 45 minutes from here. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die, a real live nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride the pony. I am that Yankee Doodle boy. For a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Ready to clap? Every heart beats true under red, white, and blue, where there's never a boast or brag. But should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on that grand old flag. For a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. But should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag.
Yes, he'll be back. Yes, there is more. Much more. Well, today is, Denise mentioned about space, but you know today is Asteroid Day. I'm sure you recognize that when you all got up this morning. And you know that June 30th is Asteroid Day. And that's happened since, back in 1908 when the asteroid hit over there in Russia, wiped out about 1,400 square miles of forest in Siberia. Maybe you've heard a little bit about that in school at one time. And since that time, United Nations, they proclaimed that every June 30th will be Asteroid Day. Well, it's funny, too, if you've been following the news, they just identified a giant comet that is heading for the sun. Did you hear about that one? They think it's anywhere from 60 to 100 miles across. And so it's the largest one that was discovered in modern times, and it'll be coming by in 2031. You'll still need a telescope, but it'll be coming by in 2031. So if you would mark your phones now so that you don't forget, that would be great. In honor of all that, we have a little arrangement here by John Moss, and he calls this Space and Beyond. So you're going to hear a little bit of Star Wars, a little bit of Star Trek, a little bit of Gustav Holst, The Planets, and a little bit of Richard Strauss, also Sprach Zarathustra. So this is John Moss's Space and Beyond. think in the middle of that we could feel the wind that was being created by the asteroid that's on its way here. It's always fun to go to an outdoor concert and watch the band scramble for their music, isn't it? We're going to change pace just a little bit because we do play a lot of different types of music, and here's a little bit of American music that, again, if you know this, you're welcome to sing along, but you have to sing even better than Lee, okay? And then you can sing along, okay? So this is classic rock and roll. So there's a little Barbara Ann in here. There's a little bit of Wipeout, which will feature Jeremy Clark, a little bit of Silhouettes, and a little Johnny Be Good. Classic rock and roll. Want to remind you again that this week, Saturday, 7 o'clock, Saturday, Lakeview Park, which is the old Lakeview Museum, the Noble Center. And if you've not joined us up there yet, it's working out very well. So we would invite you to come out. The weather's going to be beautiful on Saturday evening, so we hope you can join us. Our vocalist will be there, and you get to hear him again right now. So please put your hands together and welcome back Mr. Lee Wenger. Lee?
I'm going to announce the winner of tonight's gift certificate, which is to Lindenhof. And if, while I'm singing, because you won't want to listen to that anyway, go back to the table. They'll have your gift certificate. The winner tonight is Marianne Rastetter. Marianne Rastetter. Marianne, head back to the table and pick up your gift certificate. We'll have another one Sunday night. Right now, after last year, this has been a rebuilding year. So this is a perfect song for a rebuilding year. If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again in 2021 with lots of children and my wife, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. There's a pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say, hey, that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Your turn. God bless the USA. Good singing. And finally, our thoughts turn on this Independence Day weekend to those that aren't here to celebrate it with us. I hope you'll enjoy the last full measure of devotion. In the long and honored history of America, there are those who paid the last and final price, who were called upon by chance or desperate circumstance to make the ultimate sacrifice. In the long and honored history of America, there are names that shine like beacons in the night. The patriots whose vision gave us meaning and made the ultimate sacrifice. A grateful nation bows its head in sorrow and in thanks for guaranteeing our tomorrow. The last full measure of devotion, that's what they gave to the cause. The last full measure of devotion, and though they cannot hear our applause, we honor them forever and keep alive their story, pay tributes to their lives, and give them all the glory. The last full measure of devotion, beyond the call of duty were their deeds. The last full measure of devotion, they gave themselves to serve the greater needs. And for those who did survive and came back home alive, they join in praise of comrades who were slain. And highly resolved, most highly resolved, that those dead shall not have died in the song, Army veterans, past or present, please rise as we sing the Army anthem. Army, up you go. Now Army families join them. Army families. Thank you, Army. Please be seated. Now, I hope we have some here tonight. Next up is the anthem for the Coast Guard. If you or a loved one served in the Coast Guard, past or present, please rise as we play the Coast Guard hymn. Coast Guard, anyone? Coast Guard families, because you served too. Coast Guard families. Thank you, friend. Next up, the Marine Corps. If you're currently serving or did serve in the Marines, up you go, Leathernecks. Marines. Marine families. Seated. Now, if you flew in the Big Blue Air Force, up you go. Air Force families. Thank you, Air Force. Please be seated. Thank you for your flying. Finally, if you sailed the 7 seas with the naval forces, current or past Navy personnel, your anthem is up next. Navy, on your feet if you can. Navy families. Thank you to all our service personnel, especially this week as we celebrate the independence you defended.
We have a short little march for you with the longest introduction of any march that John Philip Sousa ever wrote. It was written for the St. Louis Exposition of 1893. And Denise told me it was a great performance, and it went really, really well. You would have had to have been at the concert the other night to understand why I just called Denise out. So don't miss concerts because they're a little bit different every Wednesday and Sunday. Little bit different. And then also, as far as the weather goes, I think you figured that out this evening. We never call it until about 7. But again, Saturday night at 7, Should be very beautiful. After a very long stint as the director of the United States Marine Band, John Philip Sousa wrote this march, and it was actually for the directorate, the people that ran that St. Louis exposition that were good friends of Denise's. This is the Directorate March by John Philip Sousa. We appreciate your support. We hope you'll join us on Saturday night. We hope that you'll help out the Boys and Girls Club come Sunday with fireworks right back down here on Water Street. Several people we want to thank. Please put your hands together for Mr. Lee Wenger and everything he did this evening. We want to thank our stand-in band manager tonight, Denise Cooksey, the very young and vibrant Denise Cooksey. Our band librarian is Kristen Sheets. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before, but Kristen Sheets. Laurel Filson Etzel is our assistant conductor. Liz Driscoll does publicity. Frank in the back row does Facebook for us. Todd Pilon does sound. Oh, he's over there. You never know where he is. So again, we appreciate your support. We close as we always do, giving you a few moments to reflect on what a great country it is in which we live. This is America the Beautiful.
the skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood. From sea to shining sea, America, America.